So I'm going to move fast in this video, cover Syria and all that. So just stick with me here. Syrian rebels seize another coastal village, and they're nearing Latakia. The point of this article that I'm showing you for is the fall of this major port. What would it do? It would delay chemical weapons shipments. So it's basically what I was saying, right? Whether it's the elections, they want to try to prevent that. Whether it's dismantling the chemical weapons, getting them out of the country, the rebels, the opposition, they want to prevent that. Whether it's the UN coming in and helping people, they're going to prevent that. And Turkey. Turkish army artillery pounds West Syria. The Turkish army has fired several rounds of artillery towards western Syria as Ankara seeks to renew its assistance to foreign-backed militants fighting against the Damascus government. So, unbelievable, right? And this is after a Syrian pilot said that he was shot down over Syrian airspace by the Turkish government. So, and of course, Turkey said they will not stand for this aggression. So Turkey is being used, and they're playing along with this, with Western forces and NATO and that. A Syrian militant group injures 3 Turkish policemen. I covered just the other day that Turkey and their officers were caught along with these rebels fighting inside Syria. 3 policemen are injured in the Turkish city of Istanbul in a gun battle with suspected members of an Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group fighting the Syrian government. So it's kind of a love-hate relationship. There's also probably a lot of, a lot of dirty stuff going on, because in one part they're aiding them, handing them weapons off of the back of pickup trucks, and fighting with them, and then, then at the same time, they're supposedly raiding them too. So, but that's only because they're in their land. Oh, okay, that's why. Foreign minister says Turkey to take any measures if national security threatens. So we had Erdogan. Now the Turkish foreign minister says the republic is a powerful state and has never hesitated to take any measures to protect its national security. Well, obviously, to see that they don't. Turkey versus Syria. Screw everybody else's though, right? They'll fund terrorists to destabilize the country next to them, and then say, "Damn you, Assad! You're destabilizing our country." Turkey versus Syria, NATO's last gap. So tensions risen once again along the Syrian-Turkish border as Turkey downs a Syrian warplane and terrorists backed by Turkish troops storm across the border and down Syria's western coast of Latakia. The renewed vigor appears to be, in part, a result of pressure placed on Erdogan by U.S.-backed mobs who have been taking it to the streets for months, seeking his ouster. So it says here that with this downed jet, it suggests that not only that Turkey unreasonably targeted a Syrian warplane, it knew posed no threat to Turkey, but it did so while providing anti-air support for internationally designated terrorists it is harboring within its territory. So see what I'm talking about here? They were conducting air raids against these militants crossing the border. So a big headline, Turkey aiding Al-Qaeda, right? Turkey earns $12 billion from the Baku pipeline, and it goes to Azerbaijan through Georgia. The pipeline has been transporting Azeri oil from the Caspian Sea to the port of Turkey through the Georgian capital. The oil is then exported to the European markets via the Mediterranean Sea. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but the Iran-Iraq-Syria pipeline, I've mentioned it once before in my news reports about the possibility. It was basically canceled because I guess Switzerland pulled out its contract with Iran in October 2010 in face of pressure of U.S. sanctions against Iran. But it's called a friendship pipeline by the governments involved, and the Islamic gas pipeline by some Western sources. It's a natural gas pipeline run from the Irani-Qatari South Pars Norris Dome field towards Europe. It will supply European customers as well as Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. I've also mentioned, too, about running the pipeline through Syria, and Qatar was one of the main backers of this idea, along with Turkey, who would benefit somehow because it would be on the way to Europe. There's Azerbaijan going through Turkey and all that. Pipelines. If they were to come through here, Qatar would want to be the big investor, so that's why they were invested in terrorists in Syria. Saudi Arabia was too, and they still are. They've had somewhat of an falling out, Saudi Arabia and Qatar, supposedly. Saudi Arabia is no longer really even relevant because they don't have anything to offer as far as oil. Iran does. They have natural gas and oil, and that's why the U.S. and the European Union are playing along with them. That's why they've freed up some of their money that's flowing and resources in Europe. So, they don't really care too much about the nuclear issue. They just play that for the public to consume. But yeah, Ukraine is a strategic position. I mean, as far as geographically where it's laid out. Dear Ukrainians, your gas bill goes up by 50% on May 1st. Have a nice day. So we assume this is not what President Obama meant when he said cost Ukraine to raise the gas prices. It says here, 40% from July. So the honeymoon's over, it seems, from today's address. President Obama is about to mandate who and where the free market for natural gas delivers its supply. Of course, this is not about to get any better anytime soon. But it goes on here, and it says, or Obama says, we've already authorized the export of as much natural gas each day as Europe uses each day. But it's going into the open market. It's not targeted directly. It's going through private companies who get these licenses, and they make decisions on the world market about where that energy is going to be sold. So he says, apparently Obama is disappointed in the free market. So like I said, the people themselves are going to lose. They're going to lose this whole thing in the end, right? And it says here, what's certain is that the struggling population, most of whom never wanted the recent political overhaul, were quite happy with life as it was, will suddenly demand a return to the living standards under the old, if, quote, horrible regime, and demand an even quicker overhaul of the current administration. So again, who's going to exploit the Ukrainian people? Who's going to exploit that country? The West or the East, right? So it says something Putin knows all too well. It says these events are a carbon copy of what happened in 2007 that led to the infamous 2008 Ukrainian political crisis. They agreed to pay close to $180 for every 1,000 cubic meters of natural gas it gets from Russia. It says here, making nearly a 40% increase over the current prices. Those after months of negotiations. And lastly, I'm going to move on to another article. That effort escalated to a full-blown dispute 2 years ago when Russia cut supplies to Ukraine. The dispute affected some European countries, raising concerns about Russia's reliability as Europe's main energy supplier. A Ukraine gas blockage could see Europe wrestling with Asia for liquid natural gas. Europe could end up competing with Asia. 30% of its overall gas demand, Europe's, came from Russia in 2013. Ukraine is a key transit route for Russian gas to Europe with 50%. The tensions prompted fears for European gas supplies, and last week, EU leaders promised to work as a team for energy security. So it goes on and brings Asia into the picture. A tighter market in liquid natural gas would place upward pressure on global gas prices, including those in Asia. So it'll affect Central and Eastern Europe. Ukraine seeks Central Asian gas supplies. It says here they should accelerate talks with Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, and Kazakhstan over natural gas supplies amid signs that the country may face shortages, a top advisor said. So it seems to me that, I heard about this prices going higher, affecting prices and stuff. And it seems, of course, whoever's supplying the gas, the prices are going to go up. And the people are going to want to diversify, right? That's what they say. They want to diversify imports by switching to Central Asia. So in a way, it's kind of economic warfare against Russia. I remember this article. I just typed it up and I found it. When Hillary Clinton was going around talking about, when she was Secretary of State, when she was actually talking about basically a foreign policy. Her foreign policy is energy-based. And she used that word. It's funny because she actually said in her speech that they want to promote competition and avoid monopoly. After what Obama just said about companies and stuff. Clinton actually was talking about this initiative, U.S. initiative, which aims to link electrical grids from Canada to Chile and the Caribbean, with the goal of creating a system of energy sharing among all regions. So if diversity means what I think it means, kind of like multiculturalism, it means the death of culture, the death of diversity or differences, right? So when they say that, actually what they're saying is they want to take out all the competition in South America, in Central America, and in Eastern Europe. It's funny because she actually says, America is becoming or will become the leader, in energy and economic leader in energy. Basically, what she's saying is that the NATO, U.S., EU, North American economic bloc will become a monopoly for the world. At least that's what they hope. Ukraine crisis spells opportunity for Asian gas buyers. So buyers in Asia could see more gas both from the U.S. and Russia. So you see the pattern here? Asian buyers could see more. I mean, this is a real economic warfare being carried out against Russia here, man. But at the same time, I don't know. It seems like they're going to benefit as well. So it's hard to tell. But either way, is Washington using the Ukraine crisis to push natural gas exports to Asia from March 10th? So something doesn't seem right, though, because they're punishing a supplier of gas, Russia, and those companies who provide, like, what was it, 30% of natural gas to Europe? And they apply sanctions against these companies who are providing that natural gas to them so they don't get it. But you're reading all these articles, and they're saying, well, we got to do something. We had to, basically they're saying that they created this coup d'etat so that they take control of Ukraine. The people who were protesting high gas prices, and now they're going to charge them high gas prices, and they're going to supposedly, want to be energy independent and diversified. Really, they're probably going to find alternatives as a supplier to Russia, and they're probably going to charge a foot, arm and a leg for those pipelines from Russia to go through Ukraine. Then put them out of business. That could be why Turkey's just doing whatever they're doing, supporting terrorism. So when those pipelines continue to run through there, it's a big. Greece, same thing too. It's kind of like the Iran sanctions, though. It affected the people, right? It affected the people. I guess you could say it affected the oligarchs too, the owners of the companies and stuff like that. They dented their profits, but it affects people, mostly average people, and that's what it'll affect. And then they lose political support. So, that's how economic warfare works. In Libya, they wanted to use terrorism, to get control of the oil there. Libya, like Iran, they supply oil to Europe. So because they probably wanted it cheaper. And that's why when you saw the rebels, the terrorists who did their dirty work for them, basically trying to ship oil off to North Korea, no, that's a big no-no. Actually, they have sanctions against North Korea, so they take control of the oil and they send it to Europe. I've covered this before, and I will continue to cover it. And U.S. expected to be the largest producer of petroleum and natural gas hydrocarbons in 2013. And this article is from 2013, too. Can U.S. natural gas rescue Ukraine from Russia? March 25th. Look at this terminology. Could they get them out of the clutches of Russia? Not likely, especially not soon. But many members of Congress are pressing the Obama regime to use energy as a diplomatic weapon. Ooh, remember? Foreign policy based off energy, like Clinton said 2 years ago, and to speed permits for natural gas export terminals to ease Europe's and Ukraine's heavy reliance on Russia. So you have, rich oligarchs, billionaires fighting other billionaires on the other side of the world. You have industries fighting other industries. Dow Chemical was an outspoken critic against large-scale exports of natural gas. What was this aid bill, right, that was going through the Senate recently? It just passed, I guess, yesterday. Ukraine aid bill clears Senate hurdle after Republicans drop resistance. What was that resistance? John Boehner, apparently. To what? To IMF loans. So, aid package. I believe it was what? $1 billion. So that's what, squabbling. Oh, it's just a squabble. It was $1 billion, right? Economic assistance. It's funny because they get people like, oh, John McCain, neocon. He warned of delays, talking about territory, about helping Ukraine resist further territorial aggression. It has nothing to do with territorial aggression. It's energy policy. Russia prepares mega deal with India after locking up China with the Holy Grail gas. Diversify, right? With EU nations threatening to cut the reliance on Russian oil and gas, Russian officials have started. Speaking of territorial aggressions, Russian flag has been hoisted over all Crimea military facilities. In Crimea, NATO discovers the new Russian. Basically, they were very efficient, unlike Georgia, which probably had to do with gas pipelines. Arab League rejects Israel as a Jewish state, no big surprise, but Russia intends to strengthen partnership with the Arab League. Most Americans say the U.S. should stay out of the Russian-Ukraine conflict. Well, it's funny. It's about business, big corporations. That's why you don't have NATO needs regular presence in Eastern European countries, says. And after Ukraine just fired its defense minister, oh, they want to work with NATO now. Thank you.